Hello and welcome. Today we'll be looking at my most anticipated games of 2018. Obviously there are plenty of games that will be released next year that have yet to be announced, but in no particular order, here's a list of my most anticipated titles which we know of so far. I've never actually played a Monster Hunter game before, but I've heard plenty of good things about the series from others. I was very impressed with the gameplay we saw at E3 earlier this year, and I'm eager to dive in. There was a beta release last week which I played and enjoyed. I've heard the series is one that doesn't hold your hand and expects you to figure things out and test your skills. As a big Dark Souls fan, that sounds perfect, and I'm eager to check this game out when it's released in January of next year for the PS4 and Xbox. I'm really hoping this is a new series I can sink my teeth into. Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favourite games of all time and arguably one of the best PS2 games ever made. The game was hugely impressive for its time, though it did suffer with some performance issues due to its ambition. Regardless, the game was still an absolute triumph and was unlike anything I'd played before. We got an HD port of the game a few years ago for the PS3, but now we're getting a full remake for the PS4. I can't wait to revisit this hauntingly beautiful game and experience it running on a console that's more able to handle it. Shadow of the Colossus is set to be released exclusively on the PlayStation 4 on February 6th.
If Sigismund attacks, they come.
Kingdom Come: Deliverance is an action role-playing game currently being developed by Warhorse Studios. The game will take players back to the year 1403 to the medieval kingdom of Bohemia, a region now known as the Czech Republic. The game aims to be historically accurate and puts players in the role of a young blacksmith whose family is murdered. Embarking on a quest for revenge, you'll travel the lands, become embroiled in political intrigue, and help the rightful heir claim his throne. The game was first launched on Kickstarter back in 2014 and raised over £2 million. It looks like a lot of love has gone into this game, and as a history buff, I really hope it pays off. Kingdom Come: Deliverance is set to be released on the PS4, Xbox One and PC on February 13th. The first Bayonetta game was released on the PS3 and Xbox 360, but despite getting strong reviews, it didn't quite take off. A sequel was released on the Wii U, a console that didn't sell well, and it looked like Bayonetta was done for. However, at the 2017 Game Awards, Nintendo revealed that the first two Bayonetta games are set to be released for the Switch on February 16th. I never played the original games, and I'm eager to pick these up for the Switch I've ordered for Christmas. It was also announced that a third Bayonetta game is in the works, though we probably won't see this released until after 2018. I'm generally not a fan of turn-based combat, but I thoroughly enjoyed Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch on the PS3. The game featured a vibrant world full of engaging characters and was beautifully rendered by the famed Japanese animation company Studio Ghibli. Unfortunately, Ghibli isn't officially involved with the sequel, but some of the artists and composers which worked on the first game are staying on for the sequel. Regardless, this game looks gorgeous, and if it's half as good as the first, then I'm sold. Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom is set to be released on March 23rd. The God of War series made its debut on the PS2 and set the bar for action games with its intense combat system and gory violence. The series told the story of a Greek warrior named Kratos who seeks to destroy Mount Olympus and kill Zeus. The third game showed off the power of the PS3 and the end of Kratos' long quest for vengeance. God of War Ascension was released as a prequel to the main trilogy in 2013 and is the last time we saw Kratos in action. The second chapter of the God of War series was announced at E3 2016 and sees an older Kratos travel to new lands where he will fight to survive in the lands of the Norse gods. As enjoyable as the original games were, Kratos was a pretty one-dimensional character whose only desire was to kill. The new God of War looks every bit as brutal, but looks like it's a more nuanced experience that will present Kratos as a deeper character. We've seen several gameplay videos since its announcement, and I can't wait to get my hands on it when it releases in early 2018. Red Dead Redemption was one of the best games of the PS3 360 era and is arguably the best game Rockstar has ever made, and that's really saying something. Released in 2011, Red Dead Redemption was set in the last days of the Wild West and followed a former outlaw named John Marston as he tried to move on from his past. The game was critically acclaimed for its gorgeous graphics, gripping story, fun gameplay and haunting music. Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced earlier this year and will be set before the events of the original game. From what we've seen from the trailer, the game looks even bigger than the last, and the power of the new console will allow for an even more immersive experience. Redemption 2 will have to be very impressive to live up to its predecessor, but if anyone could do it, it's Rockstar. Skull and Bones is an upcoming action game being developed by Ubisoft Singapore. The game will allow players to take to the high seas and live out their fantasies of being a feared pirate. The game will feature a large open world to explore, a single player mode and an online mode where you can either work together with or battle your friends. If it reminds you of the excellent naval combat from Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, that's because the naval gameplay from those games was developed by Ubisoft Singapore. As a big fan of Black Flag, I'm very interested in this game and I can't wait to engage other players on the high seas. A Way Out is a co-op only game that follows two convicts as they attempt to escape from prison and then live on the run from the law. It's being directed by Joseph Fares, who also directed the indie game Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which focused heavily on two characters working together. A Way Out can be played via online co-op or split screen, but you can't play it alone. The characters, Leo and Vincent, both have distinct personalities and players can choose how they want to overcome an obstacle and decide who does what. Given that it relies so heavily on multiplayer, if they mess this up then the game could be ruined, but if they pull it off, it could be the best co-op game in years. Marvel Spider-Man is a PlayStation 4 exclusive that's being developed by Insomniac Games, who's best known for the Ratchet & Clank series as well as Sunset Overdrive. The game will tell its own Spider-Man story and is not tied to any films or comics. Players will be able to explore a fully realised New York City and can use Spider-Man's abilities to defeat enemies and traverse the city. Environmental and stealth combat will be featured and players will also experience moments as Peter Parker. Mary Jane will also be playable as a character at certain points in the game, and villains such as Wilson Fisk, Mr. Negative and a gang called the Inner Demons will test your skills. The last truly great Spider-Man game was Spider-Man 2, which was released back in 2004. That game nailed the web slinging but was restricted by the limited hardware of the time. If this new game could build its foundations upon what made Spider-Man 2 great, then we could have a truly awesome game on our hands. It's expected to be released in early 2018. It's not yet entirely clear as to whether Ghost of Tsushima will be released in 2018, but it is possible. The game's being developed by Sucker Punch, who are known for the Infamous games, and their latest title takes players to the year 1274 in Japan. Players take the role of one of the last samurai who seeks to fight back against the invading Mongol forces that are destroying Japan. The game seems like it will focus on stealth action and players will be forced to use everything to their advantage in order to overcome their foes. The game looks excellent and I'm really hoping we see it get a release next year. So there you have it, 10 awesome games that you can look forward to next year. Let me know in the comments what titles you're most anticipating, and if you enjoyed this video then please give it a like and a share. I'm a very small channel and every little helps. See you next time.